Hello, Cosmic Creations. It's me, Sarah, your favorite disabled chaos witch, and I had a little bit of energy today because I've been really resting hard. So I decided to put together a tutorial for you folks. Excuse me, wig. It's the head to toe spread. This is a spread that I came up with myself. It's a full being check-in. It can be done daily, weekly. It's useful for routine building, meditation, journaling, divining short-term health outlooks. The querent, that's either the person, if you're doing reading for yourself, it's you, or it's the person you're doing the reading for, can choose to focus on a certain part of the body, illness or symptom if they choose so, or you can make it more general. For today's tutorial, I'll be using myself as an example because that's really a lot of the reasons that I do Cosmically Ill Tarot and Radical Acts of Survival Tarot is because I think when you're dealing with disability, chronic illness, you know your body best. So when you're doing your own health readings, those cards can really speak to you in a more unique and individualized way than, maybe if you're getting them done from a reader. I just really believe in education, and I believe that, when you are living disabled, your perspective is very different than someone who hasn't lived your life. That's why I do these tutorials. So I do think that tarot can be used by everyone. We all have intuition. We can all learn to grow our intuition. We all can, look to teachers for help and that sort of thing. We can all get readings too. I get readings all the time. Vita Lumen, wonderful. Shaheen Miro, red light readings. I mean, I also get readings. I do my own readings. I like to kind of be surrounded and really held by spirit at all times. So for today, I'm going to be using myself as an example just to kind of show how doing your own reading can be done. That it's very, realistic to be able to do your own reading. And I do have my obsidian for grounding to keep us centered. I also have, I want to show this one first, my giant blue rock. Because of my situation, it is difficult for me to speak loudly right now. I am also using a microphone. So this will help me open my throat chakra so that the messages can flow and we can hear each other and all that good stuff. And my favorite, my selenite wand, which, I always do my prayer to bless this room, bless my readings, bless my cards. May my ancestors, spirit guides, and angels all be with me while I do this reading for the disabled and chronically ill community. Thank you very much, and amen. And I do these little things. They're things that I'm comfortable with. So whatever kind of ritual or prayer or invocation that you do in order to kind of clear the room and make it so that you're ready to bring in spirit and you're ready to kind of, delve into your intuition, what helps you makes you feel grounded and clear, do it. These are just things that I do. Nobody told me to do them. They're things that work for me. So, I'm all about, it's what a chaos witch is about. You are made up of atoms and molecules and DNA and cosmos that are unique from every other human on the planet. So why would your spirituality be the same as anybody else's? If it resonates, if it hits on that holy meter and you're like, oh yes, this is what I feel works, do it. That's what I do. So it really kind of takes a lot of the dogma and mystery out of it too. You can experiment, you can change, you can read different books, you can get different ideas, whatever works for you. This is what works for me, and I'm using myself as an example, but I just want to make that very clear that really everyone has their own unique way of connecting to spirit, connecting to their ancestors, humbling themselves to the universe. All right, that being said, I'm going to be using the Healing Light Tarot deck. As you can see, the box is worn because I love it. And it's by Christopher Butler. This is one of my favorite decks, especially for doing readings about my physical being, my emotional being. I have different decks that I use for different things. This is definitely one of those that I feel that is in tune with the issues that I face and that I go to tarot for. So I'm going to shuffle, and while I'm shuffling, I'll tell you a little bit about if you've been following me, you know my situation. Since around June, I've been dealing with a kidney. My left kidney is not draining. I'm in persistent hydronephrosis. I've already had 4 procedures. I do have lupus. It's an autoimmune issue. I've had 3 opportunistic infections, which opportunistic infections are infections that, people with functioning, healthy immune systems, you come in contact with this bacteria or fungus or whatever every single day. People who have dysregulated immune systems, we end up getting really sick from these really, common and benign bacterias and funguses that are around us all the time. They are taking up in my kidney, and right now I do have a nephrostomy tube, which is why I haven't been doing these tutorials, because it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of energy. I am not very comfortable, but right now it is saving my kidney because it helps drain everything so that I'm not in that constant hydronephrosis place. Hydronephrosis is swelling of the kidney. So we have 2 months, we're at the 2-month mark right about now to figure out, if we can cure these infections, if we can jumpstart my immune system and we can jumpstart the function of the kidney and get it back working again. And if not, at the end of these 2 months, I will be getting the kidney removed. So I'm in a very difficult place mentally, emotionally, physically. I'm in a lot of physical discomfort. It's a very scary place to be, plus everything that's going on societally, politically, the pandemic. It's been, this is the time where I would bring in tarot to guide me. So I will be using myself as an example as we do this. So let's get started. Head to toe spread. So as I said before, if you can't shuffle in the typical shuffling way, shuffle whatever way works for you. You can mash up the cards, you can smash them back together, you can have someone else shuffle for you until you say stop. Put them back into 3 piles. And I use my left hand, and the thinking behind that is that it's because your left hand comes from the heart center. However, if you do not have a left hand, or your left hand doesn't work, what I would recommend instead is then just think about pink, green, light energy surrounding the cards, surrounding yourself. And that's the same thing. You are infusing the cards with that heart energy, whether you have a left hand or not, whether you have any hands, whether you're using your feet or your teeth or whatever. So let's begin. Okay, the first card is emotional grounding advice. And I will post a picture of what the spread actually looks like, so you can see the cards all laid out. So emotional grounding advice is, I got the Chariot reversed. So emotionally, I'm in a pretty rough spot right now. Every day I would say it's a challenge for me to keep my emotions balanced. I cry a lot. I am angry. I am frightened. I am not in a very balanced place. So the advice for me to emotionally ground, you could look at this 2 ways. In one way, you could look at it, all right, it's fine. That's the only way you're going to be grounded right now, girl, because what else do you expect? Let it go. Let the tears come out. Let the anger come out. Let the fear come out. It's normal for the situation that I'm in to be feeling exactly what I'm feeling. And this Chariot reverse, you can almost look at it as like a release of the need to balance. Just let it all out. I'm not going to be emotionally balanced right now, and that could be the most grounding thing for me to do. The other way you can look at it, and again, this is why I am trying to further education to teach people how to read their own tarot, because it's going to mean something different for everyone. The other way you can look at it is, the advice is that I am a little bit too imbalanced, that maybe there are some other things that I need to do, such as meditation or journaling or tapping, or reaching out to energy worker. I'm a recovering psych survivor, so I don't really do the therapy, the technical therapy route, but that, again, that's just me. I find my emotional balance through Reiki healers, other tarot readers, things like that. But seeking help to get those emotions under control. That would be another way to interpret this. For me, my intuition is feeling like, no, the way to stay grounded right now is to stay in your mess. This is a messy situation. To deny the mess is only going to make it worse. To stuff the mess is only going to make it worse. Feel your feels. Let it be. Let it go. It's okay to not be in control right now because I'm in a serious situation where I don't really have a lot of control. And allowing myself to surrender to not having control is going to be the best way for me to emotionally ground. The second card is the physical grounding advice, which is the Ten of Wands reversed. So when this card is upright, this is a card of being very overburdened. And so I like this because I like my interpretation of the Chariot reversed being like, hey, let it all hang out. Let your feelings go. Don't worry about having everything structured and balanced and, zen right now. You're a hot mess. It's okay to be a hot mess. And then the physical advice is if I allow my emotions to flow, I am going to feel less stressed out physically. I will be putting less stress on my body by allowing myself to surrender to the chaos that I'm in, to the uncertainty that I'm in, instead of trying to control it and get it harnessed and, together and trying to appear together. Let it go. Unburden that in my emotions, and I will unburden that in my body. And also, this card, if I think about it from a physical standpoint, don't push myself. I'm one of those people where like, okay, I'm going to do 5-10 minute walks a day and I'm not going to lose any muscle mass. The reality is I'm 90% bedbound. After I do this video, I might sleep for 2 days. That is about the energy level that I am at right now. So that is the other thing that I'm taking from this Ten of Wands reversed. Do not push myself right now. Do not overburden myself physically because that's the advice. Just don't do it. Stay in bed. Do your little stretches. Maybe take a 5-minute walk twice a day, but that's it. Do not try and push yourself. The next card is your emotional health awareness and what the tarot illuminates for the future. So let's see. Oh my. And it's the Emperor. So this is a very interesting card, especially getting it right after the Chariot. And when you see the way that this layout is, it's like emotional, physical, balance, head to toe spread. Okay, so now we're getting up into the future part. So this would be right above the Chariot card, and the Emperor for my emotional health in the near future. It really is signaling that I'm going to feel I may feel like a huge mess right now, and that's okay. It's okay. I'm grounded in it. I surrender to it. I'm allowing it. But in the future, I'm going to feel more of a mastery, or I'm going to get some help and advice from and support from other people around me, or maybe my medical professionals, or maybe my caretakers and the nurses that come to my home to help me to take care of this, which I just got those services in place. Gratitude everywhere. I am going to start to feel a little less out of control and a little more supported and held. So this is a great card. So for the future, Emperor, he's a stable guy. I like it. The next one is the physical awareness for what the tarot illuminates in the near future for the physical. And we got the reversed Five of Pentacles, which is also very beautiful to have in the near future too. So upright Five of Pentacles, it's two figures and they're kind of huddled. One of them is on crutches, one of them is sick, and they're walking right outside a church. Like they're in a bad way, but there's there's sanctuary right behind them, but they're not in it. And it's a card of like feeling really lost, and it's a card of loss in general. So to have it reversed means that as much as I'm physically feeling, I am so drained. As I said, I might sleep for 2 days after this. I'm going to start to recuperate some of this energy, and I'm not going to feel so much loss. And I'm going to make a prediction. It might not be right, but it also could signify that I'm not going to lose my kidney. Now, that's a huge prediction. And see, this is another reason why I encourage us all to learn how to read for ourselves. I would never say that to someone else who I was giving a reading to, because those are, I can say it to myself because it's me and I'm responsible for what I read and for what spirit is coming to tell me. And I'm also responsible for my body. I'm responsible for what I want to believe. So this is why I think it's important, if you are interested in using tarot and esoteric means as a way of nourishing and sustaining yourself, and you are disabled and chronically ill, that you learn to do it for yourself. Because that's what came into my head about it. Means that I'm moving away from loss. And then we've got the Emperor. Emperor a lot of times also will signify doctors. It will signify somebody coming in who really knows what they're talking about for me. And I am getting a new kidney doctor soon, a new specialist. And maybe they will have insights that the doctors I have so far haven't had. This could really mean that, I am going to be turning a corner in my health. At the very least, I think it means that I will be recovering some of my energy in my body. And as much as I feel like I'm draining, and I'm losing weight and I'm dealing with these infections, and it's going to start to come back. I'm going to start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So then next we have the balance card, what the universe wants illuminated about how to safely navigate our bodies and beings in the context of the surrounding cards. So this is kind of the bridge between the emotional, physical. You could call it the challenge card. And we got the 8 of Cups. So again, this is, going with the 5 of Pentacles. This is a card of moving away from the present situation. So a lot of progress in these future cards. And I think as the bridge between them is also to remember that this isn't going to be forever. I'm moving. I'm not going to have the nephrostomy tube forever. I'm not going to be in this situation forever. I may have problems in the future. I mean, I've been sick my whole life, so that's not in question. But I'm talking about this specific kidney issue right now. It's going to be very important for me as I bridge the gap between the physical and the emotional to remember that I'm moving away. I mean, I'm in a much better shape than I was at the beginning of June. And now that I've got these nurses and caretakers in place, I'm in much better shape than I was 2 weeks ago. To remember that movement is there and I'm going to continue. That's the challenge and the balance. The final card in this spread is called the Crown card. So it's the advice of the tarot about how to nurture the soul and stay connected to spirit. 9 of Swords. So if you look at this card, it's a figure who is sitting up in their bed and they're like covering their face and they've got all these swords hanging over them. Anxiety. Now, there is a difference between having fear and having anxiety. I also suffer from PTSD. I deal with a lot of past trauma from my childhood, medical trauma from my whole life, trauma from these last 2 months, or going on 3 months now. For the advice from the tarot of how to nurture the soul and stay connected to spirit, really be aware of giving in to anxiety and worry. For me, what that means is things like staying off of Google. Stop Googling kidney stuff. Stop looking up stuff that's just scary. Really focusing on the here and now. And fear is a huge part of this for me. I mean, like I said, I'm looking at possibly having a kidney removed, and not knowing is a really difficult place to be in. And surrendering to that not knowing is easy to say, but it's hard to do. And I think that's what this card is really kind of signaling to me, that you need to not worry. And I got this really great advice from another friend who I met on Instagram, who also has lupus and went through kidney failure and stuff like that. And what she said was, when she was going through it, she was in the ICU for like 3 or 4 months when she had all of this going on. And you got to keep your world, it's almost like telescope it in. And whenever you start to feel afraid or scared, or start to kind of like feel like you're out of your body or overwhelmed, like I can't do this, oh my gosh, which I do feel more than once daily. And her advice has really helped me throughout all of this. She said, whenever you get that feeling, telescope it in, think about the people you love. Think about the things that you're living for. You know, it's easy to say like, oh, you know, you got to live for yourself. Sometimes, especially when you have been inundated with doctors, prescriptions, medicines, treatments, I don't know, Bermuda Triangle, kidneys, it's constant. And it's easy to lose yourself because you are just being constantly bombarded by all of these things that you have to manage, that you have to figure out, and you're also not really in that much control, and you have to give over a lot of your safety to doctors and caretakers. And then there's also the outcome, which you don't know what it's going to be. It's very easy for me to get very overwhelmed very fast. And I have been using her advice every single day since she told it to me. As soon as I start to feel like so overwhelmed that I can't, everything starts to just kind of like go dark, telescope it in. I think about the people I love. What am I living for? Who am I living for? I picture their faces. I picture their smiles. I picture seeing them again. I look at pictures of them on my phone or go through old memories. And I really focus my mind on just these. I think about my pets. I think about my chihuahua. And I keep it there. Don't go any further either way. And I take some deep breaths. And I do put on makeup every day. Again, whatever works for you. Even though I spend 90% of my time in bed without pants on and just watching TV, I am reclaiming bits of my humanness and my physicality. And then when I feel those overwhelmed, really fearful, anxiety-producing feelings, I take deep breaths. I might even hold my obsidian, which was given to me by a very, very dear friend. So I think about her when I hold it. And I think about the people I love, just like one after another. I have their faces going through my head. And I just breathe and breathe and breathe till my shoulders drop. And I can start concentrating on some bad reality TV or coloring book or whatever it is I'm going to do. So I think that's great advice for me of how to stay connected, is that really it's going to be the anxiety and worry that will disconnect me from spirit. And in order to nurture my soul during this time of uncertainty, focusing on the people I love and really being aware of my emotional being, not giving in to fear and anxiety and worry. I don't want to say fear, not giving in to worry and anxiety are going to be the key for me for nurturing myself to get through this. So that has been the tutorial for today. Head to toe spread. Again, I will post a picture of what the spread actually looks like along with the card descriptions. It was really great to be able to wig out and get dressed up and do this tutorial for you guys. I'm going to try to keep this going, but it's going to be on my time, because that's what my energy allows, and I got to respect that right now.